you still ended up back here.
So the legends were true. The Netherrealm really is a sea of flowers.
Yes. Just like the flower fields we tended to back then.
Is that you, Plixia?
Do you remember me?
I don't have the memories from that time, but I've seen you before during an experiment.
I see. Call me Thanatos, then. It'll be easier. However, since you recognize the name, you must already know everything about Thanatos, right?
Yes. I'm here to reforge the order of life and death in Amphoreus.
You know, my sister was a sympathetic, but rather sensitive person. Whenever she didn't want to say what was on her mind, she would avoid eye contact and look off into the distance. Just like what you are doing now.
Can you tell me about the last Era Nova? What did you do, Plixia?
Where should I begin? I suppose we can start from the beginning. A long, long time ago, there were a pair of like-minded twins. As foretold in the prophecy, they were chosen to be successors to the god of death. But fate was cruel. The price of attaining divinity was to take the life of a family member with our own hands.
That trial was indeed recorded in that memory.
Then you should already know that my sister voluntarily gave up her own life, so that I could ascend as the demigod of death. But I couldn't accept that. Why did we have to kill each other for a future she'd never see herself? That's not fair. So, while weaving the laws of the new world, I shattered the forbidden bottom line for life and death. I reshaped my sister's soul and took the form of the great dragon Pollux to carry her up the River of Souls and back into the mortal realm. But our fates were already decided and manifested in unexpected ways in response to my futile actions. Aging is an unbreakable law of nature laid upon humankind, created at the same time as death. When the living die, their souls will meet Thanatos, who would determine where every soul goes. If the Reaper raises their left hand, the soul is granted death and allowed to enter the Netherrealm to await reincarnation. If they raise their right hand, the soul is rejected by the Netherrealm and returned to the mortal realm to continue walking the earth.
That's why the Hand of Shadow can only lay down judgment and not embrace another being.
Yes. Death was originally a pair of hands, but they were split in twain when we reached the mortal realm, never to touch each other ever again. The half of Thanatos that represents life, the undying human who grants death. That was the curse I forced upon you.
Then, what about you?
As the half of Thanatos representing death, I shoulder the fate of defying death. I died the moment I entered the world of the living. From then on, my Titan also no longer existed in this world. The cycle of life and death stopped. Souls were denied their audience with death, and were left stranded within an ever-rising river of the dead. What irony. My selfish desire to save your life gave you and the world a fate far worse than death instead. Then, what was left of my reason was left behind in the Netherrealm, where I've been taking care of these flowers day after day, until there is now a sea of them, all while mulling over the subject of life, death, parting, and enduring an endless loneliness.
Fate is absurd indeed. Our lives were a mirrored image of one another, like a pair of hands. Even so, we arrived at the same destination. We walked different paths, yet experienced the same pain.
I had hoped that maybe you would at least have a good life in this cycle. I'm sorry.
I lived my life well. It didn't go to waste. As far as I'm concerned, you did nothing wrong.
Even though I forced the authority of granting death to humanity upon you, a total stranger.
Too many responsibilities were forced upon me in the course of this long journey. I was once lost, even upset. But I realized recently that if it weren't for your blessing, I wouldn't have understood the source of these emotions, nor would I have realized my purpose. I wouldn't have made it here to reunite with my missing half. And we wouldn't be discussing our past while sharing the same view of this landscape. I wouldn't have understood the meaning of our existence.
The meaning of our existence.
This sea of flowers blooms on dead land because we sowed it with the seeds of our separation and watered it with our tears of loneliness. Yes, the only thing death is allowed to create are flowers that bloom from blood and tears. That's why Thanatos cannot create living beings at will, nor can the Hand of Shadow determine a person's remaining days. Because the life and death of mortals should never be dictated by another's will.
Are you saying there's no point in Thanatos' existence?
No. No single being can bear the scales of life and death on their own, not even a god. Life and death weigh equally heavy. We both know that now, don't we?
You, too, must have had a difficult life. We've taken quite the ridiculous journey together, haven't we? I had a feeling, even back then, that we would meet again one day. Not to embrace one another after a long separation, but to come in search of retribution. Tell me the answer that's already been written, and let us draw this seemingly endless fate to a close. It's been far too long. I've waited here for centuries, watching day after day as desperate spirits are denied by this lonely wasteland. I always hoped I would see you among them, but I was also afraid of seeing you. I didn't know how I could possibly face you again, but more than anything, I was afraid that you might have forgotten all about me.
I know. But don't you see, Polixia? I made it back anyway. You don't have to shoulder death's authority on your own anymore. It was always meant to be held in two hands anyway. So, let's give our core flame to him and have him take it back to the mortal realm. Give humanity back their cycle of life and death. Our responsibility as Thanatos was never about picking out favorite souls. We were only meant to watch over life. Let's tend the field together and create a warm sea of flowers for all the souls to come. What do you think, Polixia?
Yes, just one last step. You shall wither, and through that, the dead will sprout again from the remains, and be reborn with the dead flame. As foretold by the prophecy, Thanatos' authority is only destined for only one person to wield. As the Chrysos heir of death, as their demigod, as a titan, our fated moment has arrived once again.
Just like before.
Yes, just like before. But unlike that time, the ones undergoing the trial this time are prepared.
You've made up your mind?
Yes, as dictated by fate. But I won't be afraid. As long as you're here with me, complete your trial in this life. Grant me the embrace of death, and light the spark of life ablaze. You've been tempered by life and death. I know you'll be able to give this wasteland its first breath of life, like a raven butterfly, flying swiftly into the netherrealm, perching on the twig of death.
I will. After this, I will remain permanently in the netherrealm. The river of souls shall return here and rain down from the sky, scattering souls across the earth. The cycle of life and death will flow once again. The sea of flowers you sowed shall bear countless joyous or sorrowful souls and bloom evermore.
Thank you. Just one last thing. Can you grant me one wish?
Of course. What is it?
Please, don't forget me.
I promise you, when we meet in the next world, even if I have endured another reincarnation, even if we do not know each other's names, I will still hold you tightly in my arms. Just like what I did when we were born.
Castorice. Castorice, you're as beautiful as a fleeting butterfly.